Hey everybody, this is William with Stardust Drive Productions. I'm here to give you a bit of an update as we enter the back to school season. Today was the first day back to school for a lot of young people except for me. I actually went back to work after the long weekend, which was great. Making the money while the kids are educating themselves on pointless, courses like geography and grade 10 Canadian history. So the other day I was thinking to myself that I wanted to provide a bit of an update video just to talk about the status of the podcast itself, both the Stardust Drive Podcast and Comic Soup. So there's different reasons why both podcasts went on their own individual hiatuses. The reason behind why Comic Soup went on hiatus was just that we kind of fell out of touch with David for a few months, and it's not that we stopped talking to him altogether. It's just that our attention was kind of put onto different things. The reason why the Stardust Drive Podcast, the reason why that one went on hiatus was pretty much for similar reasons. There was just a lot of stuff that went on in June that kind of halted me from getting from where I live now to Mississauga to be able to record the podcast with everybody. But everything is fine now. It's just a matter of kind of coordinating our schedules, which I'm finding, and our dream has always been to try to do a podcast once a week, which I'm coming to realize now that is almost impossible to do. Other podcasts are able to do it, that's fine by them, but a lot of people, like a lot of us, myself, I'm speaking for myself, I work 2 jobs, and I'm paying rent for the first time ever in my life, and I'm living out of the city, not too far out of the city, but far enough. And also, I can't speak on behalf of my other friends and co-hosts of the podcast who they all work. They've all got really weird hours. Like Anthony does overnight shifts. Adam goes from working 8-9 hours in the morning to doing afternoons and has 2 weekdays off back to back. He doesn't even have weekends off. David was working for the city. Carter's available a lot. And then Chris has been focusing a lot on streaming, so I'm going to kind of plug Chris's channel now here, just because I figured why not. He's been doing a lot of streaming of CSGO, otherwise known as Counter-Strike. You can check him out at CSGO_opportunity, which is capital AUPERTUNITY. I think I got it. That's not how you're supposed to spell opportunity, but that's how it comes out. You can look him up on YouTube as well as on Twitch. So he's doing pretty well for himself, and congrats to him. I think that I hope he goes far with it. We are looking to bring the podcast back. We don't know when, but we have had discussions. Myself and Anthony and Carter have had discussions about bringing back the podcast. Not like the hiatus that we had between episodes 20 and 21, which was literally almost a full year. In fact, it was like 8-9 months. We could almost consider that like a season 2 of the podcast. We don't really want to look at it like that, but at the same time, we're trying to look at ways that when we're in these hiatus moments, how we can improve the podcast when we go back. So I've had a bunch of discussions with Carter about ways of kind of implementing new technology and new applications towards the podcast. For example, if a good friend of ours, Just the Noob, you can go check her out. She does a lot of animation on her own channel. Now has a new channel called A Girl in a Game, which she hosts her own podcast, aptly titled A Girl in a Podcast. And they utilize Google Hangout, which is similar to Skype, the way they use it. And in fact, where it's just kind of audio recordings and they just kind of join up in a bit of a hangout like Skype. But I'm looking into it, and this is not going to happen overnight. I'm going to be looking into ways of trying Google Hangout and seeing how that works. It might bridge the gap between the fact that we live so far away. It might make Comic Soup a little easier to do if I can do that with David, and that was something I wanted to discuss with him potentially. As well, for the Stardust Drive Podcast, if ever we're supposed to do a podcast but can't, maybe it's possible to do it as a Google Hangout session or a Skype session. So we'll see how that goes. Also, while I'm here doing a little bit of housekeeping, I want to kind of promote the fact that August was a busy month for content on the site because we debuted Poor Man's Gaming, which I spoke about briefly as a bit of an idea on the summer 2015 updates video that we recorded in the middle of July. So we actually were able to come to fruition with Poor Man's Gaming, and it's turned out great. I'm having so much fun with it. We've recorded 6 episodes of Dog's Life. They're all up. That was the first one that I played. As well, I've got a bunch of episodes pre-recorded and just in the editing process for Banjo-Kazooie for the Xbox Live Arcade. That one I think is going to be a little more successful, and I'd like to see how far I can take that one. The other thing I wanted to mention is that in the time off I was able to push out 3 episodes, I believe, of Breakdown. So you can check those out. I might post some links to the Breakdown playlist below. So there was an episode, that was 3 episodes that were released afterwards. It was just me recording it because I can do it. It's pretty easy to record some episodes solo. That way I don't have to rely on having to go out to Mississauga to do it, much like the podcast. So you can check out episode, I believe it was episode 5 or episode 6, I believe, which was on the rumored Spider-Man casting list. Episode 7 was about Fantastic Four and its major flop. And then episode 8 was a recent one, which was about my opinions on the Resident Evil Origins Collection announcement. So those are all available for you to watch, as well as Poor Man's Gaming. I've also posted on my Facebook, and I will probably post it as well on the Facebook fan page and to Twitter for people who are interested in potentially joining us on a podcast. Unfortunately, they have to live in the local, like the Greater Toronto area. If it's people that we don't know, we might have to screen them and do some kind of, just make sure that they're legit, and it's also to make sure that they're not complete psychos or anything like that. But we're also, since this video is kind of being sent out and a lot of my friends tend to watch these videos, it's also geared towards you, anybody who is interested in the world of comic books, of video games, of movies and television, traditional geek stuff, we kind of cover geek culture, I guess. But that doesn't extend to just that stuff. There's so much more out there in terms of geek. Geek is a very broad definition now. We're always looking for more people to join us on the podcast and discuss various topics. Hit me up on Facebook, or you can even hit me up on YouTube, so leave a comment, a like, or a subscribe on any of our videos, even on the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. Anyways, this has been William with Stardust Drive Productions, signing off.